This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
They live in a neighborhood with a very bad neighbor who will lash out at them at any given moment.
In the best of families, you have these tactical disagreements.
She disgraced this department. You are following right in her footsteps.
It's a flat-out lie.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Still shooting in the Gulf. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. Yet another skirmish between U.S. and Iranian forces overnight in the Middle East, despite a ceasefire supposedly barring it. Fox's Jeff Paul begins our coverage from Dubai.
The attack coming hours after Iran and the U.S. exchanged back-and-forth missile strikes. CENTCOM said it fired on and disabled an oil tanker that was trying to sail towards an Iranian port. Shortly after, U.S. military officials confirmed its forces downed multiple Iranian ballistic missiles and drones launched towards both Kuwait and Bahrain.
Former U.S. Ambassador at Large Nathan Sales.
The Saudis and the Bahrainis and the Qataris and the Emiratis, they have to live in this neighborhood. They live in a neighborhood with a very bad neighbor who will lash out at them at any given moment.
Now, what do Iranians think about the conflict, says this Tehran resident?
It is obvious that in such circumstances, when a major war has taken place, such incidents will occur. Now, whether these small incidents will lead to a full-scale, all-sided confrontation is something that no one really knows.
Now, this week included an apparent spat between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Israel's ongoing fight with Iranian proxy group Hezbollah. Trump was on the Pod Force One podcast about reportedly swearing and yelling at Bibi on the phone.
I wouldn't say angry. I was a little bit perturbed at his constantly fighting with Lebanon. You know, at some point I said, Bibi, we got to stop this. We got to stop it. But I have a very good relationship.
Netanyahu went on CNBC to respond.
We have common goals. Sometimes we have, as in the best of families, you have these tactical disagreements. We always find a way to work them out. And we do so as great friends. We can disagree in the morning, and by the afternoon we have common action.
Trump, taking questions this afternoon at the White House about the recent flare-up, said, quote, "It takes two to tango." No shortage of tangoing on Capitol Hill today as Secretary of State Marco Rubio went before a congressional committee about the war, including this odd exchange with California Democrat Sarah Jacobs.
You won't admit President Trump is losing this reckless war of choice. And just like you couldn't admit that the shoes the president bought you were too big, you clearly don't know what winning means.
I don't know what shoes she's talking about. What is she talking about? He gave me some Florsheim shoes. They're actually pretty good. They fit fine. I don't know what she's talking about.
Your shoes look very nice today, Mr. Secretary.
Well, how can you see them? They're way down here. We're talking about shoes. Are you guys kidding me? I mean, is this the Foreign Affairs Committee or is this like a circus? What is this?
Also plenty of rhetoric as DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullin testified before the House Homeland Security Committee. Here he sparred with New York Democrat Tim Kennedy.
Your predecessor is no longer here. She disgraced this department, and it seems like you are following right in her footsteps. Under your leadership,
that is not true. Don't accuse me of something that's not true.
Gentlemen's time.
It's a flat-out lie. You know it's a flat lie.
Mullin told lawmakers a border wall from the Pacific to the Gulf of America should be complete by this time next year. California is still counting votes the day after the Tuesday primaries. Reality TV star Spencer Pratt close to securing a spot on the November ballot to go against incumbent L.A. Mayor Karen Bass. Meantime, Democrats Xavier Becerra and Tom Steyer, along with Republican Steve Hilton, are vying for 2 spots in November's general election for governor. Some health news for you next. Weight loss drugs being linked to lower rates of breast cancer.
A new study out this week looked at more than 100,000 women over the past few years and found those who took GLP-1 drugs, such as Wegovy and Ozempic, have a 30% lower risk of breast cancer. The researchers at the University of Pennsylvania do point out the observational study does not prove really weight loss drugs reduce cancer, but they do say the drugs may reduce inflammation and improve metabolic health, both linked to cancer risk.
Monica Nelson reporting. Experts caution, though, that it's premature to begin taking those weight loss drugs to try to prevent breast cancer. There are some more studies underway. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories and highlights from today's Inside Out feature. But first, here's weather with Kevin.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Well, the beat goes on. Our rather serene weather scene to continue. The expectation is the rest of the work week will be dry and on the warmer side with fair skies. The weekend is a different story, though. A cold front will arrive, and that will bring some showers, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder as well. The call for tonight, a beautiful evening. Overnight, we're mainly clear and comfortable with low temperatures in the upper 40s to the middle 50s. The odd valley fog patch or two late. For tomorrow and Friday, warm, fair amount of sunshine with high temperatures ranging from the upper 70s to the middle 80s. It'll be cooler both afternoons along the shores of Lake Ontario and Lake Erie.
Thanks, Kevin. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Data centers. They're a highly charged topic these days in New York and Pennsylvania. New York could be the first in the nation to issue a temporary statewide ban on large-scale data centers. Governor Kathy Hochul, though, not yet saying whether she'll sign such legislation, but sounded like she's on board.
I'll look at this one-year moratorium in the context of also knowing that the status quo can't continue, that much more needs to be done to derive benefits if they are in the state of New York.
The legislature is expected to vote on the bill this week that would put in place a one-year large-scale data center moratorium. Advocates say it'll give the state more time to lay out rules and plan to make sure the energy grid is protected and that utility rates don't go up. There's a bipartisan push in Pennsylvania to put the brakes on AI data centers as well.
I think any developer that's trying to come in quickly is not being an honest broker, and they're not going to be a good neighbor.
Democrat Katie Muth wants a 3-year ban on the construction of these massive facilities that require a lot of energy and water to operate.
If somebody can just come in and buy up 500 acres of your town and put a giant industrial operation and just affect your property, that's a fairness issue, and it's really not partisan.
Republican State Senator Tracy Pennycook tells WHTM.
We do have a little bit of the Wild Wild West going on.
She's sponsoring legislation that requires AI companies to provide their own power and water or pay to upgrade the infrastructure. And data centers figured into PA Republicans talking about the cost of electricity in the Keystone State today.
The Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission announced another series of rate increases across the Commonwealth. In some places in the Commonwealth, it's going up by as much as 20%.
Representative Craig Williams at a state capitol rally.
Because we haven't been building any electricity. In Pennsylvania, we haven't built substantial new electricity in more than a decade.
Williams says AI data centers are driving up electric usage at record numbers, and customers are competing to have electricity for their homes. The Pennsylvania Electricity Ratepayer Protection Act would require AI data centers to construct their own electricity generation. Do private schools have an unfair advantage over traditional public schools when it comes to winning high school state championships? Several PA lawmakers think private schools do have the upper hand, and the State House overwhelmingly passed a bill a few weeks ago that would let the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, or PIAA, to create separate playoffs and state championships for public and private schools. That legislation now goes to the Senate, though it's uncertain if it will advance. Inmates have filed a lawsuit after a salmonella outbreak at the Broome County, New York jail. We get that story from Family Life's Sarah Harnish.
A group of inmates at the Broome County Correctional Facility have filed a class action lawsuit against Broome County and Sheriff Fred Akshar in the wake of a salmonella outbreak last week. 71% of the population of the jail was infected, some 320 people. Inmates are also calling on the governor to remove Akshar from office, saying the food they were given was not fit for human consumption, and they're asking for an independent administrator to be appointed for the health of the inmates. Sarah Harnish, Family Life News.
Thank you, Sarah. Finally, an effort to bring pro soccer to Buffalo is going into extra time. Buffalo Pro Soccer has postponed the launch of its USL championship team for the second straight time. Ownership sending out a letter to fans saying they won't start play until after 2027. The big challenge continues to be securing and approving a stadium site after plans for the first one fell through. Other potential locations are still being explored. Up next, highlights from today's Inside Out feature are Martha Manikas Foster speaking with Bethany Freimeyer, a financial advisor and author of Women of Worth, a faith-based guide to financial wisdom. She says there's a gender gap in financial confidence and that the heart of financial wisdom is the confidence we gain from knowing that we're valued by God.
Bethany, you report there's a gender gap in family financial knowledge, and I'm curious as to why. Do you think a lot of us have bad memories of math class? Is because we didn't have enough practice early on growing our money management skills and confidence? Maybe we're haunted by financial mistakes we've made in the past?
Yes, I believe there is a gender gap. a lot of times, and I think it could be all of the above. I believe it could be how we're wired, things we think we're good at, things we think we're not good at, the way that we may let the enemy tell us lies about what we're capable of and what we're not. Many times, I believe subconsciously, we make these unwritten rules in life, like I can do this and I cannot do that. And that is so untrue. God has gifted us so greatly as women in many, many areas, and finances don't have to be complicated. So I believe we can always start somewhere to start getting a handle on our finances.
Bethany, how do you think faith in Jesus Christ impacts a person's perspective on finances? And how do you think a person's understanding of their worth connects with their confidence managing money?
Oh, Martha, this might be my favorite question. So I believe that faith in Jesus matters most because if we are Jesus followers, then we understand that God owns it all. Psalm 24:1 says, the earth is the Lord's and all that's in it. So if we don't own it and it's actually His and He's entrusted it to us, then we are just stewards of it. So that can take some of the pressure off. Now, do we have a responsibility? Sure we do. And then if we are not walking in confidence to believe that we are uniquely created and have a purpose God has called us to, then why would we have confidence in anything or our finances? So that is a huge piece of the puzzle.
So how does this work differently for men and women, do you think? Because you're focusing on how women can grow in confidence. I mean, men do not spring forth confident in their money managing capabilities.
All people are wired differently, and so it could be different for each person. But generally, I believe that, and there are statistics that tell us this, that men will walk into things they may not know or they're less confident about, but they will walk in showing more confidence. Oh. Whereas women, they won't speak up or offer any kind of knowledge or educate anyone unless they feel not only confident, but really confident. So I think that's one thing. Women are more timid to step in. I believe another thing that goes into that is that men a lot of times are better compartmentalizers than women. So even if men aren't good in one area, they compartmentalize that and they might be good in another area. But with women, we live more integrated lives. So sometimes that can cause, in my opinion, more questioning, where we might say, well, I don't know if I'm good at this, and if I'm not good at this, why would I be good at this?
Highlights from today's Inside Out feature with Martha Manikas Foster. You can hear the entire feature and all of our Family Life original news features at Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Living on the edge may feel normal, but it can also get exhausting. Hi, I'm Rob West with the Faith and Finance Minute. Proverbs 21:20 says, the wise store up, but fools gulp theirs down. That's a picture of margin. The wise don't spend everything, they leave room. For many people, every dollar already feels accounted for, and when there's no margin, even small setbacks can feel overwhelming. A surprise expense or change in income quickly becomes a crisis. Margin creates breathing room. It gives you space to rest and creates room for generosity, so you can give when God prompts, not just when it's convenient. So as God provides, look for small ways to create space in your finances and in your life, because where margin exists, so does freedom to trust God and serve others. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
Thank you, sir. Finally at 5, row, row, row your boat. From California to Hawaii. There are actually 2 separate events where that is the daunting goal. One's already underway. 31-year-old Kelsey Fedler attempting to become the first woman to ever row solo from California to Hawaii.
I've been a whitewater rafting guide since I was 18 years old, and I just love boats in the middle of nowhere. I wanted to do it alone. I wanted to see what I could do by myself and what I could make possible, but also just to know what it's like to be alone for that long. I love hard things.
Indeed. Soon to follow, the worldview world's toughest row competition in teams of 2, 3, or 4. Members of the foursome tell KSBW the challenge is really more mental than physical.
Every one of us is going to go through the full range of emotions. So at some point I'm going to break down. We're all going to go through that.
Everybody has idiosyncrasies or annoyances. You got to have grace, and just everyone rows their own ocean, but we do it together and then hopefully like each other at the end.
Yeah, hopefully you got to have grace, especially when you're rowing 2,800 miles together. Kelsey Fendler's already about 2 weeks into her solo trip. Those rowing teams will launch on Saturday. And that's the world we live in for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.